If I can be very frank with you, one of the greatest dangers facing any Bible-teaching church, including ours, is the risk that we become like the church at Ephesus, a church that is focused on service and busyness and work, a church that is focused on spiritual discernment and theological knowledge, but a church which has lost its first love, a church that is now adrift. See, Jesus is neither impressed nor pleased with you individually or us as a church corporately if we've got all our arguments for dispensationalism down, but the last time we shared the gospel was before the internet was invented. Jesus is neither impressed with or pleased with us as a church or us individually if we've loaded down our schedules with programs and activities and studies, but the husbands in our church aren't loving their wives as Christ loved the church. And wives in the church aren't submitting joyfully to their husbands and to God's design for them in prioritizing the home. And parents and fathers specifically aren't prioritizing the necessity of instructing and disciplining our children according to God's commands. Jesus is neither impressed with or pleased with us individually or us as a church if we will talk with anyone with a pulse about who the Nephilim were or who the two witnesses of Revelation 11 were, but we're not talking with God regularly, not communing with him dependently through prayer. And because the church, including the church at Ephesus, but also our church, is made up of, it's the sum composite of its members, I have to ask individually, I have to ask our church together, corporately, have you abandoned your first love? Has your love for Jesus Christ run cold? Are you adrift? And how would you know if you were? Well, there's no one-size-fits-all test for everybody. I do have some pointers for you, though. Here's one. You no longer desire to spend time with God, specifically in his word. Bible reading has become a chore for you now. It's non-existent even. If you're being honest, you'd rather watch YouTube videos that make you laugh or television shows that make you think or read news reports that make you feel smart and informed. Second, your times of private prayer have dried up. You don't feel like talking to God. You don't know what to say to God, so you don't say anything at all. You don't give thanks to him for what he provides. You don't cry out to him when you're desperate. You've given your maker the silent treatment. Third, your times of corporate worship have dried up. That they're listless, they're wanting. You're here on Sunday, but you're just mouthing the words. You read the lyrics on the screen, but you're not thinking about them. The sermons that are preached aren't connecting with you. They're not hitting. They don't do anything for you anymore. Now, mind you, you don't pray or prepare yourself for Sunday worship, but you expect God to show up anyway. Fourth, you do find yourself craving the things of the world far more than you do the things of God. And it shows. It shows in your screen time reports. It shows in your bank balance. It shows in your browsing history. Each one of them tattles on your soul. Each one of them reveals what actually has a hold of your heart. Fifth, you find yourself increasingly justifying your disobedience, pridefully measuring yourself horizontally against other sinners, lazily leaning on your profession of faith at 7 or 17 or 47, instead of humbly measuring yourself against God's holy and righteous standards. 6, you find yourself becoming more harsh, judgmental, critical of, angry toward others in the body of Christ, those who you will spend eternity with, by the way, and all because they gave you a look that you didn't appreciate, or they poked their nose in your business, or they showed you some sort of what you perceive to be disrespect, or they were given a ministry post that you thought you should have, or they were given credit for what you think actually should have been yours. If any or many of those describe you, you may just be like those who made up the Ephesian church, as Jesus addressed them here in Revelation 2. Theologically, you're straight as an arrow. Practically, you're laboring diligently for the Lord. But honestly, you've lost your first love. You're adrift.